God.
So what are some other shows you've written on? Well, I want to get first. We'll get to that. I want to go. What do you do with Barry Manilow? How did you end up with Barry Manilow?
Greatest gig in the world. Greatest gig in the world. I just came off the road with them on Saturday. In the early 90s, he always worked with a comedy writer or a comedy writer producer type. He used to work with Bruce Valanche, then he worked with Roberta Kent. In 1992, I think it was 92, I was living in LA, and he was looking for somebody, he needed a new writer person. And I get a call from his publicist, and I was a big Barry Manilow fan. I mean, I grew up, he's one of my guys. It's like, Barry Manilow, Elton John, the Eagles, that was it, Linda Ronstadt. So they want to meet me. So I go and I'm doing an interview with his publicist, his director, and all that. And it was a couple of nights later, and it's actually the night we're breaking the Yom Kippur fast at my house. I finally had people over and this and that. And the phone rings, and he goes, "Hi, is Larry there? It's Barry Manilow." And it was Barry Manilow. And he goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, we're breaking the Yom Kippur fast." He said, "Chew fast. I want you to come over." I said, "All right." So I hung up, gave me the information. I said to everybody else, "Clean up and let yourselves out." And I drove over to his house in Bel Air and met him. And we got along great right away. Just got along just easy. And so I started writing for him, just a little bit here and a little bit there. Then he started bringing me on the road periodically, when he needed me for stuff, or he's on doing a tour, whatever. And over the last 10 years or so, 7 years or so, I've been there, not full-time, but close to full-time. I'm on, whenever he's doing a show, I'm there. And one of the reasons I live in Palm Springs is because he lives here. And I was commuting from Laguna Beach, and it's just too far to drive. It's, you're driving 120 miles each way 3 days a week. So I moved out here about 5 years ago. And he's one of my best friends, one of the greatest gigs. He's as good now as he was then. And for the people who don't know his music or don't like Barry Manilow, go see it live. Go see it live. He's a radio. You should come.
What do you do for him? What do you do for him? Like when you're on the road for him, do you write material? I mean,
yes.
What do you?
Yes, if we're on the road,
he's a showman.
Let's say we're going on a 10-city tour, which we're doing in May. We'll change the show every night based on where we are. The set list may change every night. He changes it up a lot. And we'll write something specific for where we are. And in the morning after the show, we get together and we watch the entire show, watch the rundown, what worked, what didn't work. Even simple things like the lighting cue is off over here. It's pulling focus. Or the band's too loud. I can't hear you when you're talking. It's all that. It's like creative consultant. It's like, I'm his creative backboard. We bounce stuff off each other. And when we write, it's together. I mean, I sit and I talk to him like I'm talking to you. What are we looking for? We need something here. We need something there. I want to try this. And it's a great gig. He's like one of my best friends. He is an absolute gentleman. I'm really lucky. He's a nice guy.
Well, what's fascinating about him also is, and I know people who just recently saw him in Philly and people who said he was amazing. It's not like he's some 55-year-old guy anymore. He's sitting there and he's doing the grind and he's putting the show on where a lot of people I saw the Beach Boys with, I think it was Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And I got lucky. I had really good seats because one of the guys, Chicago, was supposed to be on my podcast, and he couldn't do it. So I just said, "Hey, can you put me on the guest list?" And they did. I figured my mom always said ask.
Nice.
But Brian Wilson was opening, and he should not have been on stage.
Brian Wilson was with them?
Yeah, this was 2 summers ago. And so they basically bring him out in a wheelchair, and he just sits there, and the other people, like the original Beach Boy, like some of the guys, not like Mike Love wasn't there or whatever, but it was sitting there, and it was like, it was billed as Brian Wilson, not the Beach Boys. But it was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what is, his family must be awful, because he only sang a few times, and it looked like a Martin Short sketch, like one of those things when he sang. And that's like Manilow's got his shit together. I mean, people I know were like raving about him. They said he's such a showman. And he's what, 75, 80? He's not like he's young.
81. He's 81.
Yeah,
And you would never.
it's insane.
It's kind of like that ageless thing where you see him walk on stage, you would have no indication how old he was. He could be 40, he could be 60. You would never figure it out. He moves as well. I mean, I'm telling you, it's like he's a better performer than he was 40 years ago. I mean, he sings, he dances, he's funny, he's all over the place. He plays great keyboard. I mean, it's the show itself is about as hip as it gets. There's LED screens and the lighting. And when he's putting the show together, he sits with the lighting guy all night long for 2 nights, lighting the entire show. He sits with the choreographer, choreographs the whole show himself with them. Writing the show, putting the show together, he sits with me. And his work ethic it's what he lives to do. You hear people say, well, music is my life. It actually is for him. I mean, this is what he does. And I mean, if you think he has a lifetime residency in Vegas, he has a residency at Radio City Music Hall 2 weeks every year. We have 2 tours scheduled. He just did a month at the Palladium in London last month. Last year. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I tell anybody, go when he's in New York or Philly next year, you'll come. I mean, I think we're hitting Philly, or you'll come to Radio City. You give me a heads up.
Coop's Comedy Corner.